This is a video not about attacking the general gamer. This is a video attacking a very specific section of gaming YouTube. Alright. I am so tired of this. Alright. I'm tired of people pretending to care about developer welfare while doing nothing to actually help. I'm talking about the performative nonsense you see on social media where people say, I want shorter games with worse graphics so developers can be paid more and work less. Do you really want that? The whole acting of pretending you give a crap about crunch culture while you're sitting there harassing developers on Twitter about delays is pathetic. It is virtue signaling at its absolute worst, and I am done pretending that it's anything other than that. So I'm going to break down why exactly this specific section of gamers piss me off, alright? First of all, when you say you want worse graphics, you are being incredibly patronizing to actual developers. Do you know what you're actually saying? You are saying that stylized art isn't actually real art. You're saying that games with a strong art direction instead of photorealistic graphics are somehow easier to make and therefore less valuable. Do you have any idea on how much effort goes into stylization? Do you understand that art direction is a skill? That creating a cohesive visual style takes an incredible amount of work? Teams of talented artists spend years developing these aesthetics, but you're sitting here going, no, yeah, just make it look worse. That'll be easier on the devs. Fuck off. You're insulting their work. And shorter games? You think shorter games are just easier to make? You think tight, focused game design just happens out of nowhere? Like it's divine inspiration? Making a game that is perfectly paced, where every moment counts, where there is no filler, actively takes more effort, not less. You're out here acting like you're being noble, when really you're demonstrating that you have no clue, not a smidgen or an atom of an idea of how game development actually works. You are patronizing artists who pour their hearts into creating beautiful stylized worlds. You're patronizing the designers who craft tight, focused experiences. You're basically saying that their work is lesser, easier, and not as valuable as high-fidelity AAA graphics. You are being incredibly condescending. And this is the one that really gets me. My second reason. These games already exist. You want shorter games with stylized graphics? They're everywhere. They're all over Steam. There are thousands of indie games that fit exactly what you claim to want. You could go on Steam right now and find hundreds of beautifully crafted indie games. Short, focused experiences with incredible art direction that are made by small teams who actually do get compensated reasonably because they're not working under massive corporate structures. These games exist. They're available. Some of them are even free. You can emulate older games if you want, and hell, you could just pirate them if money's the issue. I'm not telling you to, but you could. It's an option. But you don't play them, do you? You ignore them. You scroll right past them because what you actually want isn't what you're saying you want. What you actually want is to complain about AAA games while sounding morally superior. That's it, man. Let's talk about what you actually do with your money and your time. You don't buy the indie games that you so-called champion. You don't play the shorter or stylized games you claim to want. You know what you do? You go on Twitter and you complain about every AAA release. You talk about the $70, the $90 special edition. You complain about the length if it's under 20 hours. You demand 100+ hour campaigns. You want cutting edge graphics. You want goddamn everything. There are indie developers out there making exactly the kind of games that you say you want, and they're struggling because nobody actually buys their shit. But you, in particular, you're not helping them. You're not supporting them. You're clicking post on your next tweet about complaining about Assassin's Creed while tweeting again about how you wish games were smaller and simpler. Your actions completely contradict your words. You say you want one thing, but your wallet says something totally different. And that's how I know that these gamers and these influencers and these YouTubers are full of shit. Because if you actually wanted what you say you want, you'd be buying it. It's available, man. You're just not interested. So why do you say this shit if you don't mean it? Because it gets you engagement on Twitter. Because it makes you look noble and thoughtful. Because performative concern is easy and it costs you nothing. You can tweet, I'd rather have a 10-hour game with PS2 graphics if it means developers are treated better, and watch the likes roll in. Everybody thinks that you're so enlightened. You're so compassionate. You're so different from these other toxic gamers. You get to feel good about yourself without actually doing anything or changing any of your behavior. It is virtue signaling at its purest form. You're not actually advocating for better working conditions. You're not actually supporting games that fit your stated values. You're not changing your actual consumption habits. You're just performing content for social credit. That is it. That is all that this is. And the worst part is that it works, man. People eat this shit up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner twice on Sundays, right? Meanwhile, you're doing absolutely nothing to actually help developers. You're just farming engagement by saying what sounds good. Because here's what you really want. You want everything. You want cutting-edge graphics. You want massive open worlds. You want 100-hour campaigns. You want every AAA game to be a technical masterpiece with endless content. You want your $70 or whatever you pay for the game to last you months. And you want it released on time, polished, and with no bugs. When a game is announced, you immediately start speculating about graphics. You compare screenshots. You zoom in on textures. You complain that it doesn't look next-gen enough. When a game is shorter than you expected, you throw a goddamn hissy fit. 8 hours for $70? That's a ripoff. You demand more content, more features, more everything. And then, when the inevitable happens and the game gets delayed because making all that content takes time, you start harassing developers. You flood their Twitter mentions. You call them lazy. You demand that they work faster. And then you have the audacity to tweet about how you care about crunch culture. You can't have it both ways. You cannot demand massive, technically impressive games and then also demand that they are made ethically with no overtime. Well, you can demand it, but it's not going to happen because the economics just simply don't work, all right? The real problem, hold on, is you! I mean, it's not some abstract corporate evil. Sure, executives make a lot of money, and that's their own issue. But the core problem that's actually driving crunch culture and layoffs is you! You want massive scope fast and cheaply and perfect. And you want it ethically as well. And you genuinely seem to believe that all of this is possible simultaneously. It is not. Making games is expensive. Making big, beautiful, complex games are really expensive. If you want games made ethically with reasonable schedules and good compensation, they're going to take longer and cost more. That's just reality, but you won't accept that reality. You want everything and you want it now and you want it cheap. So companies can just crunch their developers to meet your impossible expectations. They need to hit release dates because delays cause backlash. They need to cut corners to keep budgets manageable because you lose your minds if a game costs more than $70. Your expectations are unrealistic, and the best part is that if the game is good, you don't give a shit about the crunch culture. Oh wow, guys, From Software just released their awesome game. I will proceed to not care about their developer situation. But we're going to lay this shit out for y'all, guys. You want AAA graphics and scope, and photorealistic visuals and endless content, but you also want indie prices. You complain about $70 price tags, you wait for sales, you expect games to be cheap. You want games to be released on time, but you also say that you don't want crunch. You claim to care about work-life balance, so how do you think that games get made on time without crunch? Magic? You want zero bugs. If a game launches with issues, you lose your shit. You demand perfection on day one. But you also want your games to release on schedule. Testing takes time, and polish takes time as well. You cannot have both instant releases and perfect quality. Every single one of your demands contradicts another one of your demands. You're asking for the impossible, and when the developers can't deliver the impossible, you'll blame them. You need to choose what actually matters to you because you can't have all of it. So guys, massive games cost massive amounts of money to make. That money goes into paying hundreds of developers for years of work, plus all the infrastructure and tools and marketing and everything. If you want those developers paid well, working reasonable hours with good benefits and job security, that costs even more money. Which means that either the game takes longer to make, or make it cost more to buy, but that's never going to be an option, or the scope gets reduced. You've heard of the phrase, fast, cheap, good, pick two. That's real. You can have a game made fast and cheap, but it won't be good. You can have it good and cheap, but it won't be fast. You can have it good and fast, but you won't be cheap. And when you add ethical to the mix, well, that makes it even harder. Consumer expectations create the conditions for crunch. Massive scope at low prices on tight timelines. The only way that companies can deliver on this is squeezing on their workers. Most people are directly contributing to the problem that they claim to care about. Not your publishers or the executives. It's you, man. It's your wallet. It's the people buying the shit. Okay? Your refusal to reflect trade-offs. Crunch is mandatory 80 to 100 hour weeks for months on end. It is developers sleeping at the office. Smash Bros. Melee's development, Mother 64's development, it's been happening for decades. Caused by unrealistic timelines driven by consumer pressure. Publishers set aggressive deadlines because delays cause backlash. Delays cause stock prices to drop. Delays cause you to lose your minds on social media. So they commit to dates that require crunch to hit. Crunch doesn't exist in a vacuum, guys. People don't pay their developers less. People don't crunch their developers to crunch their developers. Market pressure, consumer pressure, your pressure. You are part of the system that creates crunch culture. And until you are willing to adjust your expectations, nothing will change, alright? Here's what actually helps, guys. You can manage your expectations. You can stop pre-ordering everything. You could support realistic timelines. Don't lose your shit when a game gets delayed. Stop harassing developers on social media. Support unionization efforts in the game industry. And buy those smaller games that you claim to care about. Because the truth about all of this is that you cannot be a maximalist consumer and a pro-worker at the same time. You cannot. These positions are mutually exclusive. They are fundamentally opposed to each other. Being pro-worker means accepting less consumption. It means buying fewer games. It means accepting higher prices. It means accepting longer development times. It means sacrificing your immediate gratification for better working conditions. That is what solidarity looks like. But you want to consume everything and feel righteous about it. You want maximum consumption with a clear conscience. So you perform this little trick where you say, oh, I'd be fine with less, knowing well that you'll never actually have to prove it because the industry will keep giving you exactly what you demand. The entire premise of I want shorter games with worse graphics so that devs can be paid more is bullshit because it assumes that you can have your cake and eat it too. It assumes consumerism and worker solidarity are compatible. They are not. You have to choose, and your wallet shows exactly what you have chosen. But you wouldn't be okay with less, because indie games exist, shorter games exist, stylized games exist, and you don't play them. You don't buy them, you just scroll right past them to talk about the next massive AAA release. So stop lying to yourself, pundits, alright? Stop virtue signaling on Twitter about how you sacrifice graphics for better working conditions, when you know damn well that you wouldn't. Stop pretending you care about your actions when your actions show that you don't, okay? Either change your behavior or shut the fuck up, okay? Because you are just noise at this point. You are performing. You are virtue signaling to make yourself feel better about being part of a system that grinds people up and spits them out. And I'm done pretending that this is anything other than bullshit. Anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Comment next time. This is really rambly. That was my fault. But I'll see you guys next time. See you guys. Peace.